If you have ever held on to a losing trade because you want it to be right, that's because your ego is in control. Your ego is sabotaging you. And this is the exact reason why I created the course, the Inner Edge Pro, to help give traders clarity when it comes to dealing with the ego, how to overcome and get rid of the ego, essentially, so that you can start to trade from a place of logic and clarity rather than making decisions with your ego. And so by the end of this video, you're going to understand how ego will silently drain your account all the way to zero and more without you knowing it. And I'll teach you all about it and how to spot the ego and the different forms that it comes in so that you can recognize it and hopefully stop it before it destroys your account. So make sure you watch this to the end. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and like and subscribe. Drop your comments below. This is going to help boost the algorithm and get this video message out to more traders like you that need to hear this. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to know about ego is that ego will confuse being right and making money. You see, being right according to the ego doesn't always equal making money. Does that make sense? So the market will do what the market's going to do, okay? And it's all probabilities. So when things don't go your way and you take a loss, the ego is damaged. But because the ego wants to be right, it's going to try to get you to take another trade to try to fix the loss, because you can't handle the loss. The ego doesn't like to be wrong. It has to be right. And by that time, the market structure may have shifted direction. It might be bullish, and originally you were bearish. But now you're just chasing the market, and you're not entering with your plan. You're trying to fix, essentially, the loss. And so you have to accept that being wrong is being right in the market. Being wrong and not rushing to fix being wrong is actually being right. But the ego doesn't see it like that. The ego doesn't understand that taking a loss was part of the edge. But because it feels like it has been cheated or attacked on the ego, it has this need to preserve its identity and fix. And because of that, you start chasing price. So you have to understand the difference between being right and being in the money, making the money. They're not the same. Now, the second thing about ego is that your identity is attached to the trade. So you try to force your identity, your self-concept onto the market. So now you say to the market that the market needs to respect your identity because you identify as a profitable trader. So you have this ego attached to the outcome, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. So if you're right, you feel like a genius. You feel good. And then when you're wrong, it destroys you. It makes you feel like you're a bad trader. And then the ego wants to do more of what it feels good. So if you're right, now the ego is going to try to get you to do it again and repeat. Okay? And so the next trade that you take might not be the best trade because your setup has finished for the day, but now you're forcing more setups because you have this ego, and perhaps you told your community. You might have a trading community, and you've told everybody there that you're trading. And so because of that, you were right. You want to prove to them that it wasn't a fluke, that you can do it again. And then this is how the ego works. And then you get in and you take the next trade and it doesn't work out. And actually, the worst thing is that when it does work out, you're programming yourself to think that it's okay to keep trading. You see, in the market environment, there is no limit to the amount of profit you can make. You can make a profit forever. You can also do the reverse and make a loss forever. You can lose forever as well. So, in the free market environment, this is where discipline is important. Because without discipline, nobody is going to tell you to stop. Right? This is how the normal society matrix worker bee thinking mentality fails as a trader. Okay, so in the day-to-day life, in your day-to-day matrix in society, for you to function, you have guardrails. You have things that will keep you within check. Like, for example, your work. You start work at 9 a.m. and you work until 5 p.m. and you take a break at lunch from 12 to 1. All of this structure has been built by society to keep the masses structured and ordered. Okay? So when you take that person out of the society and put them in a market environment where now everything is completely free, there's nobody to tell you when you can buy or sell or take profits or cut your losses. There's nobody telling you this. And because of that, you have absolute freedom. And if you want to have absolute freedom, you have to be disciplined. The only way to have freedom in your life is to be disciplined. And that is basically the secret. People don't understand that with discipline comes freedom. People want freedom, and when they are put into a free environment, they go crazy. They go nuts. They don't know when to stop. They don't know when enough is enough because nobody's there to tell them anymore. It's like the teenage kid that never got to go out to parties growing up. And then as soon as they went to university, they lost the plot. They went crazy because they felt like they missed out on so much partying as a teen that when they were given the opportunity to live as an adult, they go overboard. They try to overcompensate because nobody is there to tell them not to, go out partying and stay out till 3 a.m. every single night and wake up hungover. So it's the same in the market. You're trying to overcompensate because you have absolute freedom. So you have to build the discipline. And the ego, wanting to be right, will make you bend your rules, will make you break your discipline. Do you see? The discipline that you put up in place, for example, trading only within market hours. So if you trade London, then that means you don't trade Tokyo, right? Or if you only trade New York, you're not trying to get into trades during London because you're bored, because you want the action. Because there is the possibility to make unlimited money, unlimited profits. And so the trader looks around and they see the other guy trading and everybody else trading, and they think that that justifies their action to trade because everybody else is trading. They should be trading. This is the herd mentality. This is groupthink. You see, trading is not groupthink. You have to have a lone wolf mentality. You are the lone wolf. Okay, you do not play well with others in trading. You cannot take signals from other people because the other guy might not know what they're doing. Most of the people don't know what they're doing. So why are you listening to other people? This groupthink is going to make you overtrade. It's going to make you try to, because your ego wants to be right, and you think that, oh, that guy is calling trades, he must know what to do, right? The ego is going to want to listen to the signal provider because it doesn't want to have accountability for its own action. Do you understand? So if, for example, you make the trading analysis, you analyze the market, and then you take the trade, you are responsible. So when it doesn't go right, it hurts your ego. But then if you get the signal from someone else, then you can blame that person. You don't have to be accountable. You can say, well, my mentor told me to take that trade, or the signal provider told me to take that trade. And the ego loves that because it doesn't have to blame itself. This is a dangerous path. And this is what I would say 90% of beginners do, not because they're bad or anything and they're egomaniacs. It's none of that. It's just that they don't know better, right? And that's the way ego is controlling you in one way. So with all of that said, what happens is then you ignore your rules to satisfy ego. You ignore discipline to satisfy ego. You know you should not be taking signals from someone else, but then you do to satisfy ego, right? You have a trading plan and all of a sudden you break it because you took a loss, and your 1 trade per day rule now suddenly goes out the window. It doesn't exist. It doesn't matter anymore. So these are some of the things that we fix within the Inner Edge Pro. We have an entire module for ego. Ego is the enemy in trading. There's no place for ego. Absolutely no place for ego within trading, okay? And you learn that the hard way. You learn that over time, through experience, through years of experience, okay? Even me sitting here and telling you is not good enough until you experience it yourself. Then, by the grace of God, you are going to think back and hear me speaking about this. And that's when it's going to click for you. So if you want to work on it, then check out the first link in the description. We have all of that nicely laid out in a full module just for the ego. I highly recommend it. But basically, if you are reacting in the market with your ego, things like refusing to cut losses, like because you don't want to be wrong, okay? You have to come to terms that you made a mistake as fast as possible and cut your losses as quick as you can. But instead, because the ego doesn't want to be wrong and you're in a drawdown, you know that the minute you close that trade in the negative, you're wrong. So that's why you don't close the trade. You hold on to a losing trade. And to make it worse, you move your stop loss because your ego is not able to accept being wrong. You see how this is an internal issue? It doesn't matter how good your system is. It doesn't matter how good your data is. If you have a problem with ego, then it's going to destroy you. And you're not even going to be aware of it, why you're doing these things. So moving or refusing to cut your losses is basically an ego thing. Okay, it's an issue with the ego. Again, we have a module for that. You can check it out. And then you have this vendetta on the market. You get angry with the market. You see, the market doesn't care about you. The market doesn't know about your hopes, your dreams, your car payments, your house, your rent. It doesn't care about any of that. So when you take a loss, you think the market did it to you because you don't want to blame yourself. Your ego doesn't want to blame yourself. You don't want to take accountability for your actions. So when you have nobody else to blame, you blame the market. You didn't take a signal from some guru, so you can't blame that person this time. So all you're left with is the market. Does that make sense? So now you blame the market and you go to war with the market. You think the market spiked you out and took your stop on purpose. So you're angry at the market. Now you start to revenge trade. You want to get back at the market because the market took something from you. So you want to take something back from the market to win, to fix your ego. And because of that, you double up your position. You over leverage. Now you overtrade. You go on a tilt because you're so flustered. You're so angry. You cannot think clearly anymore. And that is very dangerous. So we also have an entire module to stop revenge trading. That's one of the best modules within the course. And it's the most useful because everybody feels revenge to some degree. Okay, it's only the true master at the end, the sensei, that does not get angry at anything. There's no point to be angry. You just know it's just part of the deal. Okay? And it takes work to get there, right? I would say it takes more time and more practice than it does to actually learn a strategy. The strategy, you can learn the strategy in a day or a weekend, right? But fixing your internal self is an ongoing project. It's work in progress because you are running on old programs. You're running on old programming, negative limiting, negative beliefs and patterns, right? Your characteristic is basically every day you wake up and you do the things that you do in the way that you do it and your routine. You're running on a program. You're running on the old regular pattern. It's just a way you react. It's like driving home in your car because you've done it so many times. You do it subconsciously. You unconsciously do it. You don't even know how you got home. You're not really thinking about which way to go. You just do it, right? And so one thing that we do is we try to delete the old patterns, okay, and reinstall new characteristics, your new identity, someone that doesn't revenge trade, someone that doesn't take it out on the market, someone that doesn't feel like they need to get even, someone that doesn't have an ego. Okay, this is important, right? So that when you're clear, you can just focus on what's in front of you, what the market structure is telling you, what your analysis told you, and you're not getting data from anybody else. It's what's in front of you, right? And then being accountable for your actions. If you make money, good. If you lose money, fine, right? Good. Because it means that the next one you're going to make money. If you keep doing the same thing, if you have the patience to wait for the next setup, not take a loss and then try to make it back as fast as possible. You're not trying to do that. So this is what ego does. It's very deep. It's very deep. And it's, I was never even aware of ego until like this year, right? I never knew ego was dictating and driving the way I made decisions. It's just, wasn't something that I was aware of. I just thought ego was, outside the markets, but it's not. It's everywhere, and it's very much so within you and the market. And it is absolutely dictating the way you react and the way you trade. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm glad that I'm here and I'm able to share this information with you. Okay. Hopefully, I know it's not going to fix you immediately, but if I can bring your attention to it and make you aware of it, it might save you 10 years. It might save you 5 years, right? And only when the student is ready will this message hit. Only when you are ready to receive this message. Maybe you found this video for the right reasons. A lot of people that clicked off this video were not ready to hear what they had to hear, right? They clicked off and they'll probably come back in 5 years in a worse position. And then they'll be beaten and tired, and then they'll be ready to hear the message, right? So if you watch to the end, congratulations. You're a rare few. You're a rare type of individual that understands that the inner work has to be done. If you're new to my channel, go ahead, like and subscribe. Drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts about ego. And until the next video, you're on your own. Take care now. Goodbye.